What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Level with You show. My name is Wiley Olmsted, and this week I am joined by the not so phantom producer, Tyler Hadley,
Hey everybody, happy October!
and the Sub Zero hero himself, Kenny Castro. What's going on?
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
I am doing just fine. Hope the same for everybody out there as well. It is October, as Tyler said. Been watching lots of scary movies, playing, well, maybe not so scary games as of yet, but maybe we'll get to it. But we have a lot to talk about as far as what's been in our uh, what we've been playing, really, because unfortunately last week we had some technical difficulties, and the week before that we had a week off. So it's been 3 weeks, maybe the first time ever that that's happened. So if you've been missing us, we've been missing you too. Thank you for listening today. Remember, you can find the audio version if you'd like on podcast services the following day, and we stream every Tuesday at around 5:30 or 6 on YouTube and Twitch. All right, y'all. So it's been a minute. We talked about a lot of the things last week that we're going to end up talking about again. Hopefully, it doesn't get too confusing. But anyway, what's going on with you guys? How's October treating you so far?
October's been good so far. I think we're really kind of been getting a lot of that October chilly weather lately, especially today. It's kind of been rainy out. Today's probably been the chilliest day as of late that I felt.
Yeah.
So definitely, I kind of looking for some hot chocolate right about now. What else? Caitlin apparently every year has to get this Trader Joe's pumpkin spice coffee that they have. It's actually pretty good. I was skeptical, but it's good.
I saw that last time I was there, and I was this close, but just ended up getting it like a normal breakfast blend, like I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this weekend, man, even though you say it was chilly today, and it certainly is, but it was like still damn near 77 on Saturday.
Yeah.
And all the bees around my house that were like slowly dying were freaking out. Like there was literally 30 or 40 bees flying around my house, and it was strange. It was like, this is global warming right here. Just look at the bees. They're freaking the hell out. But and then it was a beautiful weekend for foliage. We live up in New England, as most of our listeners also do. And um, it was really in peak form. I was getting a little worried that it seemed a little less vibrant this year than in past years. But we went up to Shelburne Falls, it's about 20 minutes north of here, and it was really beautiful. So glad that I got to have some fall fun. Shot a bow and arrow with my father-in-law. That was neat.
Nice.
And
What'd you kill?
like, nothing except for maybe some bugs, if they got unlucky.
They got in the way.
Exactly. So yeah, so he's got a target set up in his backyard, that's in front of a big bale of hay. So it's a pretty easy to set up thing, but it was a lot of fun. And by the end of it, I was like, hey, thanks for the archery lesson. He's like, well, I sure hope you invest in one and that we can do it at your house sometime. It's like,
Intent.
yeah, exactly. So we shall see. Maybe I'll be shooting arrows like Horizon Zero Dawn.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, archery is always something that I had an interest in. Like, I'm pretty sure like the only time I ever really did archery was like camp when I was younger or something like that.
Same.
Never really did it when I was older, or like pretty sure I've never done it like as an adult. But it's a really cool thing. I mean, I would love to try and get into it. Your yard would be perfect for it.
Exactly.
I don't think I could get away with shooting arrows in my backyard.
Nope.
Yeah, my yard would be pretty neat, and like my father-in-law was like, man, you could get a longbow and do like 200-yard shots over into the Christmas tree farm. I was like, yeah, that would be pretty freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny, you did some pumpkin picking, you were saying?
Yes, I did. We went pumpkin picking out in Connecticut. That was a ton of fun. We did the corn maze. We kind of tend to be we bust out the corn maze. We like seeing the families walk by us in confusion all the time as we're like just banging it out from point to point. So we're tend to be, just skilled at it. Uh,
At the corn maze, man, that was
yeah,
not my bag when I was a kid. I was just like, after a while, let me out of here.
yeah. So I try to let little men go ahead and lead us to start off, and because I'll take a look at the map and I'll kind of like the first, or I'll try to memorize the first like five or six turns.
Hmm.
Then I pass it on to him, and I try to see how he does guiding us by himself with no help. Once he starts kind of straying off of the first 5 turns, then I'll step in, give him a little hand. I'll remind them where we are currently on the little map that we get, and then we'll try to go from there. Once it looks like he's just out of, that this maze is just too much for him, then I take over and I get us through it. But you
Nice.
know,
Certainly
nice
a
little
good
fun.
confidence booster for him.
Oh yeah, he likes it, and we're not in a rush when we get there, so it's like but I don't mind letting him get slightly confused, let him try and figure it out, but for the most part, he's pretty good. It's the more trickier and more complicated mazes that does them in.
So is this maze one of the ones that when you see it from a helicopter, it looks like something? Or is it just more of a traditional maze?
This one was more of a traditional maze. It wasn't one of those that when you look at it from the top, like it's an actual, like, picture.
John Lennon or something?
Yeah, like, when they give you the map, you can normally hit like, when you look at the map, you could kind of tell most of the time if it's an actual thing, if it's an image or just a regular maze. This one just ended up being a regular maze. So
Gotcha, gotcha.
it was pretty fun. I've never been to this place in Connecticut. It was in Cromwell, Connecticut, I believe. So wasn't
Cromwell.
bad.
Very Connecticut sounding town.
Yeah. So we did that Sunday. They went on Friday without me to go watch Hocus Pocus in a drive-in movie theater. They loved it. You know, they popped open my trunk and on the CRV and just watched the movie from inside the trunk with a blanket and everything. So it was a nice experience for them. I, on the other hand, had to work security Friday night. Got called for a quick detail, which I was like, hey, freak it, I'll go do it. Easy money, quick couple hours over there. So I got that done. They were doing a, Oktoberfest type celebration at this restaurant down in downtown Springfield, and it was interesting. It was different, interesting.
Yeah, did you get a look at those platters that Tyler's trying to get us to buy into?
Yes, I've been to the Munich House before, and I like their food. I think it was just I think it might have been the rabbit that didn't really sit well with me one time. You know,
Hmm.
just felt a little gamey. But other than that, the alligator I had there, the frog legs, all that good stuff I've had there. They haven't disappointed, so I'm all
What?
for it.
Yeah, what's the verdict?
Honestly, I haven't mentioned it to Elena yet, so I will get back to you soon, though. But I'm a forgetful guy sometimes, Tyler. I'm a bad.
But yeah, that looks
Hey,
good though. Oktoberfest in the beer garden at Munich
yeah,
House.
and I was like, wait a
All you
second,
can eat.
35 bucks exactly all you can eat. Like I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm sure they get you on the booze, but that's
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to keep on eating, you're gonna
And
need to
if you
keep on drinking. So
and if you think about it, like those are dark heavy stouts, that they're gonna be serving. So you'll get full off of that as well. You're not gonna be eating too much if
I
you're
mean,
I
that's
pounding
not
mean,
all
beers.
dark stuff.
nah. I mean, it's kind
Some
of
of them
like
will.
some of them, but I think Oktoberfest is sort of right in the middle, like sort of
Yeah.
amber. But
Just gotta get those spatins.
Yeah.
mhm. All right. So, if you didn't know, this is a weekly video game podcast where we all get together and talk about, you guessed it, video games. And since it has been 3 weeks, we are so sorry about that. We've got plenty of games. We've got a couple questions sent in from our Discord members. And the topic of the show is going to be a sort of broad Halloween theme, talking about horror games, talking about horror movies if we have the time. And we'll get to that at the back half of the show. Now, let's start with the games. First off, we've got Hades, a game that I think has been probably talked a little bit to death on podcasts, uh, video game podcasts in general for the past few weeks. Came out, I guess, nearly a month ago on the Switch and PC 1.0. It had been in early access on the Epic Store for over a year, quite some time. So the developer, Supergiant, got lots of feedback from the community and really honed in and released something that Tyler and I both agree is pretty special after quite some time with it. Uh, it's hard to know where to begin because we've done so much back and forth talk about it. We both, struggled, especially me, to complete a run. We both finally got over that mountain, and we're still trying to come back for more. Is there anything that Tyler you want to say about Hades that just sort of jumps out first thing that listeners should know?
The people should know. Well, I would just say keep at it. There's plenty more story to get into. Obviously, it is very different from most regular roguelikes in that like there is noticeable progression with all of the NPC characters that you interact with. So there's a lot of characters that some of them have like a relationship with another character that you meet within the dungeons. So kind of like going through their arc, and like speaking with like their like we'll call it like a significant other or partner, something like that.
Hmm.
But being able to see that evolve has been really interesting. Um, and I mean the characters themselves are just very charming. So I mean there's an option. There's a specifically an option in the game that makes the dungeons easier. So for the people who just want to experience the story more, that's also an option.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, and
I was just gonna say that it doesn't seem like you actually like need to be like really progressing and like actually completing the dungeon in order to progress in the story. Obviously, to the once you get to the point of when you get out, then you um
you look just don't spoil the
yeah,
ending,
I
but
know.
yeah. You do get out. There are reasons to keep getting out in some form or fashion. The game does not just end, as what Tyler's trying to say. I think if everybody knows what the game is at this point, and if you don't, it's a dungeon crawler slash roguelike slash story based game where you're meeting with different Greek gods as you progress and as you get power ups from them. You've got some family drama there. There's some interesting side characters like bosses that you talk to in the bar every time you beat them, and they just get more and more depressed every time that because you inevitably will get to a point where you're beating the first boss every time. Um, but it's just it's a very pretty. It's a very the soundtrack is sort of infectious and catchy, and the combat feels incredible. You'll still be running into new builds after 50 some plus runs. Like there was a boon that I got the other day that I had never gotten before, and it helped me get my second completion. Tyler, I wonder if you've run into this. It's you lose all of your um, revives, and but your health regenerates all the time.
Who was that from? Is that do you remember who?
I don't remember who, and I beat the game at like 2:30 in the morning,
Oh
and
geez, yeah, no, I saw that.
yeah, and it was just as long as I took my time, didn't end up taking a lot of damage, I could just, as long as I was focused on the attack patterns, just let that health, if it got down to 40 or 50, just play it cool, it'd be back up to 130,
Yeah, I don't
140.
think I've ever gotten that one.
Yeah, I was like, is this a sympathy boon? Are they giving me a sympathy boon right now?
Yeah, I mean the other thing cool about the boons is like the duo boons that they give you, like the combination of two different gods. And it
Hmm.
seems, I mean, it definitely seems to me, and I may be wrong, but it seems like those only actually you only get those if you actually have two other very specific boons, so that they like work together. It's kind of like an upgraded thing.
Hmm. Those are always the rooms that at first when I was playing, I would sort of be wary of because they're more challenging. But as you get better, you're like, oh yeah, that's two boons in one go. And
Yeah,
sometimes
that's always a must go to now.
yeah, definitely. All right. So I think, we could talk about Hades for a long time. And I think it's definitely in both of our top fives of the year. It might even be your game of the year.
Nah, maybe probably not.
No? Okay. But it's
Nah.
up there. Is it up there?
It's up there for sure. Yeah. I don't know. We're still waiting. We're still waiting on Cyberpunk. We got PlayStation 5 games coming out.
Well, yeah, yeah. I don't mean to declare it for the whole year. I just meant so far. And anyway, that's a discussion for another episode. So I said earlier that we wouldn't actually been playing too many spooky games, but I was wrong because Phasmophobia, it's been blowing up on Steam, blowing up on Twitch,
Oh yeah,
and it is the latest ghost hunting game that's got people quivering in their boots.
we
And I
got
haven't gotten
Phasma Fever.
Oh yeah. Oh
so
yeah.
Kenny, why don't you tell me about this since Tyler and I have been chatting it up?
Well, well, when it comes to Phasmophobia, man, there isn't too much to say other than this is a ghost hunting sim. That every time we play it, it just creeps me out and scares me a little bit more each and every single time. Especially as we unlock more maps, more areas to go do missions. You know, and last night and during our stream, we unlocked the asylum, which was a huge map in terms of where we had to explore. And I don't think, if I remember correctly, Tyler, I don't even think we really got too many clues in there, right?
I mean, it took us a long time to actually even just like figure out where the ghost was. So in each map, the ghost typically has like a room that it's in.
Um,
So you have to explore these entire maps like with the different tools in order to find out what room the ghost is in.
and so it's all about being efficient, everybody having their own roles. Of course, it would be easier if we had a fourth person. Last night we almost did, but his PC just kept crashing trying to run the game. Couldn't understand why, but it is what it is. Um,
It
but
happens.
Got
we
haunted.
were, yeah, it definitely got haunted. I know that before we hit the asylum, I think I had a couple encounters that really were like, yeah, no, like this, my heart is racing. I finally, after all the houses we've been in and all the places we've explored and done our ghost hunting, I finally found the Ouija board. And
Oh yeah.
I will tell you, Wiley, I am not exaggerating. I picked the Ouija board up and I heard little kids laughing.
In
And
real life?
no, not in the game. In the
my
It
game,
kids,
was probably your
my
kids just
kids
watching
upstairs.
SpongeBob.
it wasn't even my kids because I found the Ouija board in the kids' room, in the kids' room in the game. So I
Mhm.
picked it up and all I heard was hee 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 hee, and I was like, "Get out of this house now!" I took
So
that
see,
Ouija board and hit the van, and I'm like, "Guys, I got the Ouija board." Anthony was like, "I don't think you're supposed to take it out," and I'm like, "I heard kids laughing. I'm not staying in there." They
that's
started
great.
using it. They got it going. Like I saw it, and I was like, "Holy crap! This thing is actually moving around!" Like because I threw up the stream on on my phone while I was in the van, and I saw from Tyler streaming it. Like the ghost was using the Ouija board to answer their question. I'm like, "Oh man, yeah, no." I know that at one point in time, me and Tyler, we were somewhere in a different house, and this whatever it was, I think it was a Oni, it was Oni or a Wraith. This thing made a noise. It was like, "Grrr," and I was like, Tyler, get out of here. Doors closed in one room. I'm like, no, no, no. This thing is ready to kill us. Tyler threw the crucifix down to keep it from attacking us. We like ran right out of that place. So we've been getting some close calls. We haven't. Anthony hasn't died since the first night we played the game.
Oh yeah, we're more versed. We actually like somewhat know what we're trying to do.
Yep.
So what are you trying to do besides you find the ghost and I assume that there's a vacuum of some sort that you suck them up with?
No.
No.
So the main goal is to just identify what the ghost is. So you're using these different tools. So for example, a couple different tools is there's like an EMF radar that like has colored lights and it flashes up to like a 5. There's like a radio box. I call it the spirit box. That you, if you're in a room with a ghost and and if it's a ghost that will react to it, you talk into the spirit box and you say out loud, um, anything like "How old are you? Are you here?" And then it'll respond to you through like this radio box. Um, something we didn't mention is that the game itself has like in-game voice recognition. So you can be like going through the houses and you can say like, "Show me a sign," and then like sometimes the ghost will like open and close doors or like knock something off a shelf or something like that.
Uh,
So it's
okay,
like
so that's
it's actually
very cool.
reacting to what you're saying in the game.
And you
Yeah.
also said that the game has proximity voice chat.
Yep.
Yep,
So if like Kenny's on one side of the house and Anthony's on the other side, does Kenny have to shout in order for him to be heard?
pretty much.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. If we're doing it by proximity, but we have the walkies that you then have to do the press B on the keyboard to activate the walkie, and it'll cut in like, and then you
Ah,
say something and you gotta
okay,
let go when you're done finished talking. So it has this walkie-talkie system, but in proximity, like I could hear you talking, but if I'm walking away from you, you'll just sound further and further and further away as I walk away from you as you're talking. So
gotcha.
it's definitely one of those games, man. Wasn't expecting to really enjoy it as much as I have. As scary as it has been, I wouldn't. I don't regret buying it.
Yeah, it's
Well,
only like
yeah,
14 bucks.
$14, 13.99 on Steam, and I think that's the only place where you can get it now. Seems like it's been a big hit with most players. It's got overwhelmingly positive reviews, so check it out, especially if you're into ghosts and have a couple friends to ghost
It's
hunt with.
still in early access, so I'm sure they'll be adding more stuff to it.
Oh yeah. I'm not looking forward to those destructible items. I don't want to ghost throwing picture frames at me. If that's really gonna come in an update, Tyler, I'm not. I don't know if I can handle that.
That's a prediction. It's nothing confirmed.
Man,
That's where
they
you draw
better
the line.
not.
Kenny is throwing picture frames.
Imagine, like I've seen the picture frames getting knocked out. Like one time, because you don't know what's a clue. We had a picture frame get knocked off a wall. I like the guys ran out of it, and I ran right back in, right, and I was like, I came out. They were like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I got the picture frame. Don't know if it's a clue or not. It's not a clue." But I just threw it up, threw it to the floor, and I was like, "Whatever, man. I will keep it pushing." Um, so it's definitely one of those, man. It's a game that's gonna be good with all the updates. Hopefully they add. I'm hoping they add another type or two types of ghosts that you can encounter, and yeah, not make it so hard to get the pictures because we still haven't caught a picture of a ghost yet.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
I think we need to for those ones. I think so. They have to materialize in order to actually like get a picture of them, and I think they only really materialize once they start hunting. And
Hmm.
I don't think there have been too many cases where we've actually like stuck around when they were hunting. So
Not after the first night where Anthony was dying.
yeah.
After that, that's when we were like, yeah, no. Once they start hunting, we're cutting our losses, taking our equipment, and going.
word. Cool. Well, that's Phasmophobia. Sounds very enjoyable, and hopefully now next paycheck when I buy my PC, or Tyler's PC, I can get playing with you.
do
Sorry,
Yeah.
do it
waited
up.
too long. It's this weekend.
Let me know.
I will. All right, moving on. There is a new Crash Bandicoot game. It's about time. That's literally what it's called. Crash 4, the follow up to the original trilogy on the PlayStation 1, released way back in the late 90s. And I am here to report it exceeds all expectations and is awesome and is one of the best 3D platformers of the generation. Aren't you amazed? Where's the applause? Give it up.
Yeah, Crash
Give it up for
4.
Crash.
Yeah, it's
He
about
did it.
time. Woohoo.
Woo!
You're the best. We love you, Crash.
Yes.
Crash and
So
Smash.
Crash and Smash
Crash and
indeed.
smash.
I would have a new main, like, and I would actually be practicing, get competitive, and get it into the ultimate Smash, whatever it is, get my GSP way the hell up.
Look
Anyway,
at that. Nintendo just heard them. They're like, oh, because of Wiley, we're gonna do it.
yep, that's my hope. That's my hope. I know they got a few of the big execs that tune in every week, so you never know.
Hmm.
It's about time, modern and fresh update to the series that still stays true to its roots. You are still just going from beginning of the level to the end. There is no leveling up. There's no open world, nothing like that. It is just a straightforward 3D platformer, although the obstacles in your way have gotten much more dastardly and clever and precision needing than ever before. When the Crash remix came out a few years ago, people were kind of shocked at how little that Vicarious Visions did to, I guess, maybe ease the modern gamer into it, because it was pretty challenging, especially one. I think this far exceeds that in terms of its level of difficulty. But however, there are frequent checkpoints that almost gives the game a sort of Celeste-like feel, where you're clearing one difficult, 45-second section to the next. So it never becomes, or at least rarely becomes, to a point where you're truly getting frustrated. Like there's one boss that I died dozens of times. It's just like a very demanding platforming sequence. I think they do a neat job with the bosses who are sort of very hit or miss in the original trilogy. So, some clever ones, some just pathetically easy ones. Um, Story, I think, while I'm not engaged in the actual plot, I do think that the characters are charming, and that the writing is passable. Like it's that's one area that I do feel like it's sort of barely hits the mark for me in terms of its humor and its storytelling. But the cutscenes are pretty, the graphics are great. Um, but really, it's about the precision gameplay and the scope of what's available as far as challenges that you have to undertake. Every single level, once you're a little bit way through the game, an inverted mode unlocks, which totally changes things up and adds a new level of challenge. There's secret levels to find, sort of, which are sort of flashbacks to Cortex's original experiments on Crash. Kind of a neat story nod, and gives him a cool visual style. It's like you're watching an old VHS tape. So yeah, you guys have got any questions?
What was that inverted mode you were talking about?
So I haven't given them too much of a shot, but what they'll do is like they'll put a totally unique visual style, like it'll become sort of look like neon lights, and the level will reveal itself to you slowly, so you'll have a much smaller depth of field. So
Uh,
there might be different enemy placements, but I think they do vary. Like some of them are completely obvious what's different right up front, and some of them are a little subtler. And each mode has 6 gems to collect. Once you get 6 gems for just about every level, you unlock a skin. And I was very happy to see the inverted modes uh, gem count counts towards unlocking those skins, because I was like, man, like 100%ing these levels is really hard, and I don't think I'm going to be getting nearly any skins
mm,
because I'm just not going to give the time. But once the inverted unlocked, you have 12 potential gems, so getting the skins is a lot easier. So, and actually be unlocking some stuff and be rewarded. So I'm, as somebody that grew up with Crash, I've said on the show several times, Crash 2 was my first game ever. Once I played it at Toys R Us, I was like, nope, not getting the N64, getting the PS1. This is my jam.
awesome.
So yeah, yeah, it is
Yeah,
pretty
it looks
awesome.
good from footage I've seen and everything else like that. You were streaming it one day. That looked good.
Yeah, I was
I,
streaming it. You can check out the first 45 minutes up on the YouTube channel if you want to. It's just too stressful for me to keep streaming at where the levels are now. I would just like, if I died 20 times in a row on stream, I'm gonna start heating up and just getting too embarrassed. But
I was gonna ask Wiley, because I know that one of the guys that kind of is always checking out our channel, Broadway Vic, he did check out the video that we put up the first 45 minutes. He said that at times watching the video, it felt like that first jump was a little floaty. Like
hmm,
how can you're the one that has had the hands-on experience. Does it feel like Crash's first jump before the double jump or anything feels a bit like he floats in the air?
well, overall think that the jumping feels quite good.
Okay.
And I do the thing does it's not that clever, but it's a very helpful. You have a little circular shadow that pinpoints where you're going to land because there really are demanding in where they're there's a box way over here that you need to land on and then jump back onto the platform that's going to start collapsing and then you need to uh, change dimensions so you can land on the next platform. So if there was a problem with the jumping, I have not felt it personally. I think that they pretty much nailed it as far as making it possible and not too frustrating to get through these really intricate levels.
Okay, that's good to know. Good to know. That answers one comment that was on the video, so I wanted to bring that up.
Cool, thank you, and thanks Broadway Vic for watching and listening. Okay, so a big roguelike moment in games right now, and it's we got Spelunky 2, we got Neon Abyss, of course Hades, but the one we're gonna jump into now that Kenny says he just completed last night, Neon Abyss. Now that you've seen the credits roll, what are your ultimate thoughts?
I completely recommend the game. Honestly, for a game that's on, for one, it's on Game Pass. You and me both are always recommending Game Pass to viewers, Game Pass to anybody that has a PC or even uh Xbox. So it's on Game Pass, so it's worth giving a shot. Like it's worth downloading and trying. And
Hmm.
I installed it, and I'm not too huge into roguelikes. They tend to sometimes frustrate me, and I don't see it through. But I could playing this game, I could feel myself getting better each run.
Cool.
You don't earn anything that makes your character better permanently. You unlock new items that you can randomly find throughout the levels.
You say
Um,
you do or you do not?
You don't so you unlock items that you can find in the levels, but you don't like it doesn't after each run your character doesn't become any different. Like, he'll start off with the same gun, the same amount of hearts, the same amount of grenades and keys. Each character has their own thing. So the one character might have four hearts, but then not have and not come with any keys or grenades on them. But they
Mm.
do start with an extra heart container.
Yeah, this is
And
this is like exactly like Binding of Isaac in that aspect.
yep. So it's really like takes its influence from Binding of Isaac. It's a game. Binding of Isaac is a game that I've seen my younger cousin play. I didn't play it myself, but from what anybody says, people rave about it, and so it's a game that I really want to look into now after playing this one, after investing so much time into this one and playing so many runs of Neon Abyss. Um, the boss fights, as I was telling you guys in the chat on in our private chat, what I found the most interesting about it was that the mini bosses and the main targets, it's not like they changed too many. Like there was a collection of the same bosses that you would kind of fight throughout, right? But every time you finish like you completed a successful run, they would get incrementally harder,
You mean a
you know?
successful like boss defeat?
Yeah, boss defeat, like main boss defeat, because there's 5 main targets that you have to go for, but
Hmm.
there is mini bosses that you would fight at the end of each level, um, which in their own right, they're difficult on their own at times as well.
So
Not
when
yep,
so, I was playing a little bit, and I nor near completed a run or anything. But when I was playing, it seemed like there were only 4 levels, and in some of the footage that Tyler's throwing up here, we seen it said 7 or 8. So
yeah.
how does that work?
So when you're going for the first target, you only gotta progress 4 levels to get to the your main target. Then after you beat that one, you're on to target number 2. Now you have to progress 6 levels. So
Oh,
the levels actually how far you have to go to get to the main target starts increasing
wow!
per main target that you defeat. So
And
not only do the enemies become more difficult, also to get to the main targets becomes more difficult as well.
so after you complete a target, do you does the visual change? Are you in new looking locales, or does it always sort of start in the
It
same place?
it kind of starts you in the same place once again, but you have all you'll by then by the time you finish a main target, you should have enough crystals to unlock new things, new rules, new rooms that you can find in the procedurally generated levels.
Okay.
There's a piano room that I find very interesting because I love doing it every single time I find it. Because if as long as you do the jumps correctly in the order, like it'll tell you it's almost by keys. So it'll play the music. You start it. And once you do the first jump, it'll tell you what key to jump on. As long as you do it correctly in the sequence, it gives you an item that you're at random, and you could do it as many times as you have coins. You have to pay up 15 coins for it. So
Cool.
that tends to be really really fun to do. You get that, you try to overpower yourself by getting as many items as possible, random pickups. There's many things. There's things that turn every bullet of yours into an exploding bullet, which is good because not only do you cause the regular damage, but you also cause explosion damage, which can help you defeat enemies a lot quicker.
So,
Um,
Kenny, do you have the stream open? Curious if you're seeing the footage Tyler's putting up.
I have don't have the stream from the Discord, but I have the actual stream open. Yeah.
Okay, so this is like super chaotic looking. Is this
Yes.
build typical, or is this like some late game, like really good build stuff?
So this build I haven't done myself because I tend to be kind of basic when it comes to what weapon I want to run with.
Hmm.
Because because sometimes because I pick up every item, and what I've come into finding is that some of them, once I pick up an item that causes all my bullets to do explosion damage, if I don't have the immune to explosive explosion damage, I don't want this chaos happening around me. So
Mm.
I sometimes will run through a run with my beginner gun. Nothing special, nothing crazy, because I will sometimes by the end of it have like 20 item pickups. So by then my damage is insane, my fire rate is crazy, how far I shoot is insane. So as long as I'm shooting linear, I'm happy sometimes. But you can find guns like that you saw in the stream. You'll find guns that are like space weapons where it looks like space missiles that are like in little diamonds are shooting at enemies, and that one shoots a lot of bullets at the same time. Some pickups will make it where you're shooting 4 times or 2 times or 3 times the amount of bullets that you normally would. Some builds can get really wild and they could just get very insane on the map, and where your pets also are shooting at enemies, so you don't sometimes are lost as to whether the bullets are your bullets, your pet's bullets, or the enemies.
That sounds like a pretty good build variety there. And
Mhm.
I'm watching Tyler watch this footage, and I can tell him being slowly aroused.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. It's definitely something. It's not on Game Pass PC, so
It's not?
screw that. No, it's
Oh,
not.
that's a
Oh,
bummer.
that sucks. I know that Steam had it on sale for like 12.99 recently.
That's certainly reasonable. So that's
Yeah.
Neon Abyss, and it sounds like it's a good time. I'll give it another shot. I've just been too into Hades, as well as Crash Bandicoot, as well as Mafia Definitive Edition, which I just completed last night. Um,
Nice.
yep. So this is a remake of a, I think, 2002 game that originally came out for PC and PS2. I never got around to play it back then, and the only experience I have with the series is Mafia 3, which I played through a couple years ago after picking it up on a sale. So I was just in the mood for a GTA like, do a mission and be a gangster, watch some story cutscenes. That sounded very appealing to me. So that's why I picked it up after hearing mostly positive things. And I don't think I've ever felt as, I don't know. Uh, this is maybe too extreme, but I've never played the original game, but playing this still made me feel very nostalgic for the PS2 era. Mainly
Hmm.
because of its simple mission structure. It's sort of bare bones open world by today's standards that doesn't have you off, running side quests for everybody or random encounters or, shops where you go and upgrade your items. This is just mission, 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 mission. That's it. and I kind of like that about it because one, it didn't overstay its welcome. Two, there weren't any, and maybe that could have been nice, but for the resources, I think that Hangar 13, the developer, put them in the right places. This is not going to be a competitor to Grand Theft Auto or anything like that. People are just looking for a story-driven, um, well-acted, good-looking recreation of 1930s Chicago or wherever it's supposed to be. It's a fictional city, Lost Heaven. And by the end, I was pretty invested in the characters. I mean, like it's very cliche. There's just some moments you'll see coming from a mile away, but it's really, I think, solidly acted. It's got some great side characters. The your two friends, Polly and Sam, in particular, you get close to kind of grow a bond with. The game takes place over the course of like 8 years and has several flashbacks and flash forwards, and it really is. I've said this twice already, but story focused. And
Yeah, I think I got some of the same vibes just by watching you stream the game. Um,
hmm
uh, I think when I was watching it, you were like really getting into the some like road race, not a road race, but like you're racing on a racetrack, or just like the old school like I don't even know what you'd call the cars, like buggies or whatever.
yeah, that
Um,
that I was just gonna say that part of the game, I totally thought that they would return to it because of how fleshed out that race was. Like it took me so many tries, and the track was big, and the race was like 4 or 5 minutes long. So I was like, there's got to be at least one or even two more story sequences where I have to get behind the race car, but you don't. Which that would have been actually kind of cool because that for the one area of the game where it doesn't just essentially be go from point A to point B, shoot some dudes, run away from the cops, get in a car, get back to your hideout. That's pretty much mostly the gameplay loop here. The race that happens early on in the story is pretty impressive in terms of its attention to detail. So, yeah, you can watch the first 2 hours of the game. Like I said, the gameplay is pretty basic. It's clunky at times. Like the third person shooting is pretty archaic in its design. Like it's sit behind the counter, let your health regen a little bit, pop up, shoot them in the head. That it's somewhat challenging at times, but if you're patient like that, there's really no you're not going to be able to need to develop strats or anything like that. The game is relatively simple, but I appreciated that because it's harkening back to a simpler time in gaming. And I probably will pick up two at some point. I'm not ready to play it right away, but I would like to merge the trilogy and see where I'm missing there. So Mafia Definitive Edition.
nice.
All right, y'all. Should we talk about another game? I think. Does anyone have any other things that they'd like to discuss that we haven't yet?
Um, no, nothing major. Been playing some Rocket League here and there. Um,
Computer blue.
yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
Yeah, what's been the major thing in Rocket League that's been new lately?
I mean, not a whole lot new. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, it was at least a month ago when Epic pretty much like took it over. It's like Rocket League is now like an Epic game, so like everything, all of your accounts are now like an Epic account.
Oh,
So
and
like yeah, so
even on
a new
PlayStation.
yeah, even on PlayStation. Yep. So a new season started and whatnot. So I'm back up to my diamond ranking.
What sounds like a pretty good ranking.
It's not bad. It's not the best, but
All right, well, let's get into the topic of the show, but before we do that, let's take some questions that we got from our audience in the Discord. If you'd like to join our Discord, check out the YouTube video and the description. You can find the link to join there. Lots of good gaming talk, lots of squatting up opportunities. But let's get to the question. Echo the Nade Retriever writes, "What is your standard Taco Bell order?" And we answered this last week that in the episode that was lost to the oblivion, but I've already forgot your answers. So you can start off, Tyler.
My Taco Bell order. Well, Taco Bell kind of screwed up my Taco Bell order by taking away all the potatoes. I would always
Yes.
get the spicy potato soft tacos. So my regular was 2 spicy potato soft tacos and usually some variation of a bean burrito. Sometimes I would just get a regular bean burrito. Sometimes I would get a cheesy Fritos burrito.
Ooh.
Sometimes I would get a rice and bean burrito.
Okay.
I would switch those around sometimes. And if I'm feeling frisky, I'll get a Crunchwrap Supreme.
Nice.
I'm
Nice.
not
Okay.
I'm not a meal guy like at like any fast food restaurant. I'm always
Yeah, you're always a la carte. You're just
yeah.
getting all like, let me get 2 McChickens and 2 McDoubles and a Sprite, and they cost $5.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Kenny?
Mine, just like Tyler, starts off with the 2 spicy potato soft tacos.
But those are gone now. Those are
I
gone.
know, I know. That's why I haven't been to Taco Bell since.
You
But
boycotting?
I'm boycotting. I'm boycotting. You know how I am.
I haven't been there since
I
either.
boycotted Chick-fil-A because of the coleslaw. Boycotting Taco Bell because of spicy potato soft tacos.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Well,
I
bring
mean?
them back. Kenny will be back.
Exactly. So spicy potato soft tacos, 2 of them, and then my chicken chalupa, all the Diablo sauce they could throw in a bag, and a pink lemonade.
All right. Yeah, that's not bad. That's like very
Lemonade.
detailed. You're gonna get the Kenny Castro meal promoted over there, like they've
You
been
know
doing it,
it.
doing at
I haven't had a
McDonald's.
pink lemonade in a long time.
Listen, I love it. I love pink
I like it
lemonade.
too. We get the Newman's own pink
Hmm.
lemonade sometimes. It's pretty legit. Um, so my order personally, and I will say Taco Bell is not a place I frequently go. I usually support the much better Mexican places around here. There's a lot of them. I'm not trying to sound elitist because I do like fast food, but when I do go, I get a Crunchwrap Supreme with guacamole, Mountain Dew, Baja Blast, and whatever else I'm feeling that day. Those are the only two that are sort of staples for me. Back in the day, my cousin Julie turned me on to the adding guac to the crunch wrap, and yes, it does take it to another level. So if you have not tried it, I recommend it. It's pretty dang good.
Nice.
Okay,
Ah,
so why don't we get into the topic of the show this week, which is spooky time. I don't know about you guys, but I have been feeling the spirit this year. I don't know what it is, but I'm all about it. I'm like, if I owned my house, I'd probably be out going and get some blow up things and putting the cats and the pumpkins on the lawn. I even bought 2 large pumpkins, which I plan on carving and making jack-o'-lanterns soon. Got to get on that. So
Nice.
why don't we take a break from the games and talk about movies for a bit. I know that sort of might be blindsiding you a bit, but you guys watch anything scary, and do you feel the inclination to do so around this time of year?
Well, me and Caitlin have been talking about like what Halloweenish types of movies we're gonna watch. Um, I mean, she's not much of a scary Halloween movie. She's more of like a Nightmare Before Christmas. A I think
Gotcha.
we just watched like the two. I think it came out in 2000, like a 2000 movie Witches that has like a
Mm,
young boy in it who gets turned into a rat by a whole like group of witches because the witches hate children and whatnot.
okay. Okay. So more the family-friendly Charlie Pumpkin or Charlie Brown's Pumpkin Patch Halloween.
But yeah, the what do they call the pumpkin in Charlie Brown? The something pumpkin or gosh, I can't remember. I feel
I
dumb
can't
that I can't
remember
remember.
either. It's on the tip of my tongue. Um, it's the Great Pumpkin. That's
Yeah.
what the special's called. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Hmm.
So that would be nice to watch, and I guess it's on Amazon Prime Video for those interested.
Nice.
And so I have been watching a few. I watched a couple legitimately scary movies that like maybe they're not very particularly Halloweeny, but I watched both of Ari Aster's movies, who directed Hereditary and Midsummer,
yep.
Hmm.
and Hereditary I thought was excellent. I thought it was scary from start to finish. I thought it was haunting in its imagery, and its acting was he has a real talent for capturing grief, intense moments of grief, like worst moments in people's lives, which is another thing that occurs early on in Midsommar. Um, and I watched, yeah, the Midsommar is the one I watched last night, and while it didn't kind of impress on me and stick with me the way that I think Hereditary will, it was still enjoyable, disturbing. Don't think it had. I don't know. I was like looking for a message, and I don't think it's a very profound one or anything, but
No, I don't think so.
no. But it's essentially that people that are experience tragedy are susceptible to radicalization or to uh, entering a cult, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
So, what about you, Kenny? You seen any of those movies? Either of those?
Um, I haven't seen either one just because when it comes to it, I forget to go check them out. I know my stepdaughter watched both with my fiance. My
Cool.
stepdaughter loves horror movies. Like she is a horror fanatic, and my older brother is as well.
If
So
she can
whenever,
take that, she's a tough cookie.
yeah, oh yeah. So my older brother's always recommending these movies. He's actually saw Hereditary first, recommended it. They checked it out one night while I was gaming, and they were freaked out for the rest of the night.
It's a scary one, man.
Yeah. So definitely, around this time, I just watch the scary movies any time of the year. So I don't really make a point to go out of my way with the scary movies during this time period. Um, so I haven't really been checking any out. I was gonna switch it up though, and I started looking into horror animes to watch.
Ah, yeah. There's definitely, I think all the streaming channels or streaming services are doing a better job of highlighting scary stuff
Mhm.
this year. And I've noticed that, like going through the Hulu Ween section or whatever, there's quite a bit of anime horror. So,
Yeah.
what in particular?
There was one, but I'm checking on Funimation for them. They have a whole category for the horror. So I've been just scrolling through there, checking out some there. There was one that I want to check out. It's supposed to be Sherlock Holmes's rival. So I haven't really read too much upon it. It only has about I think 2 episodes out so far. I was gonna start checking out that one. Um,
Okay.
so I haven't dug deep into them, but I've been looking at the category so far because I did finish the 2 seasons of Food Wars that were in Netflix, and I was like, all right, that was fun and erotic. Let me now watch something. Let me watch something scary. You know,
Yeah, yeah. Wow. So you already blew through both seasons of Food Wars?
that were on Netflix. Yeah, so now I'll be watching it slowly on Crunchyroll because it's on. I gotta read the subtitles on Crunchyroll
Gotcha.
for the other 3 seasons.
It's worth it.
But I'm invested. Yes, it is worth it. I'm invested. I'm invested. I did start because I can't watch anything crazy while the kids are in school. I did start Haikyuu.
Yep,
Yeah,
volleyball
but
one.
the volleyball one. That one's also intense, man. I
It
know it's
is.
not horror thing, Wiley, but man,
They
yeah,
really get into that volleyball?
yeah. That the way they portray that one is also really well done.
Neat.
Yeah, I'm sure you could also get into I don't the one this one's not dubbed at all, I don't think. But the basketball anime, The
Oh
Hero
yeah,
no Sora. I've been into that
What?
one.
Didn't know there was a basketball anime.
I mean,
yeah,
it's a high school basketball team.
yeah. That one I've seen some clips and it's wild.
Sweet. Do they have magic powers or anything, or is it pretty?
No, it's just about like a short kid who's like never played organized basketball in like his junior high career, and then he goes to high school and he picks up a whole bunch of people who have like a defunct basketball club, and
Hmm.
they end up creating a team, and like this short kid is like nasty at shooting 3 pointers, so like that's what he like focuses on. um and yeah, it's just kind of like his like journey rise to the top, I guess. Go to the inter high tournament.
Very, very shonen-esque.
Seriously, like you could put you could reskin any sort of I want to be the very best, and anime has done it. Like in
Mhm.
every, it's always high school. Someday they're gonna like move on to college. I don't know.
Yeah. After like 8 seasons, you're like, wait a second, I thought he would have done his 3 years in high school.
They
Yeah, I wonder how they'll do that with My Hero. I know we're getting all over the place here, but once they graduate, if they graduate, I mean, we assume they will. Are we going to get a few years like, or are they going to make a spin-off like Deku's first couple years
I
solo
actually, from what I've been reading, like theories wise, it's gonna be a time skip in the anime.
next season?
Well, not next season, but by season six. Season six, it should be a time skipping forward, um, to a point where things are gonna get real hairy and intense for all our characters.
Sounds good. I'm here for a older and mature Deku who's like got a new protege someday.
it's gonna be like
But
It's gonna be like Rugrats all grown up.
Deku's gonna be real rugged. He's not gonna be. He's gonna be having like a half smile, smirk.
I remember this is okay. We are really off the rails now with that Rugrats comment, but just I remember feeling at the time that was so mind blowing. Like, holy crap,
Yeah. Well,
Tommy's gonna be my age
they're
now.
big now.
Yeah, that was. I can't remember if that was any good, but I think it was all right.
I think I had like one season or something.
Once, yeah, one or
And
two.
it was
It
like
definitely.
axed.
It was not the hit that Rugrats was. All right, pivoting back to video games because that's what we do here. Why don't we talk about our favorite horror games? What's our
Just
most?
FYI, we're about at like 58 minutes right now.
Thanks for the update. Thanks for the update. I think we're right on track. So Dead Space, that's my favorite horror game, and I'll tell you why. Because it's terrifying. It's got such a sense of dread and atmosphere. I really like getting into Isaac's psyche and his maybe hallucinations, maybe not, which are further explored in two, which I put just below it. I think that the third person action is engaging, intense, not too hard like it is in two. Um, and yeah, I don't want to get too
Hmm.
talk about a 12-year-old game too much, but if you haven't played Dead Space, it's worth seeking out. It holds up. It's just pretty much a horror masterpiece in this
Yeah,
man's opinion.
I might have to do that because I would probably have to agree with Dead Space because that's one game that I picked up and probably like played for I don't even know how long I played it for, but I picked it up and started playing it and then got so scared that I just stopped playing it.
Did you?
And I like never looked back, never picked it up ever again. But that's always been like that one game has always been in the back of my head as like the game that scared the crap out of me.
I never knew that, Tyler. That's good to know. Yeah, I think it just got that special sauce of just the dread and the darkness and the scariness of the gore. It's all there. It's got all the aspects that make things scary. Like it's not just like, oh, this is more of a atmospheric game. There's no gore. Like, no, it's got that. It's got gore too. It's got action. It's got you know tense moments. It's got jump scares. So it kind of fires on all cylinders. So yeah, Dead Space for me. My runner up is Resident Evil 4, and people already know enough about that game for me to really wax poetic on it too much. So Kenny, you have a favorite horror game you want to recommend to the audience?
I My recommendation is The Evil Within.
Ooh, Evil Within.
I did not beat that game. As everybody knows, I start horror games and I abandon them
Mm-hmm.
because they terrify me.
Can't get scared if you don't play.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But Evil Within, I don't know something about it. I watched some people play it as well. I watched my brother Anthony play it, and it was terrifying. And I just liked the whole thought process that each enemy was very well thought out, and it had something to do with the story.
Mm-hmm.
I even saw that part two goes on and adds on to that as well. So it's been a really good series so far for a horror game. So that's
Yeah,
my
I
recommendation.
yeah, I think that you're right, especially about the um, designs of the enemies. The director of the game, Shinji Mikami, well known for his work on other titles. He is also the director of Resident Evil 4, and he's been with Capcom forever. But those games should be coming to Game Pass soon because
Yes,
the
for sure.
developer is owned by Bethesda. So whether or not we'll ever get a Evil Within 3, I believe they're working on Ghostwire Tokyo now, remains to be seen. But I know that Anthony, our other podcast crew member, shout out to Anthony, is a fan of the second game. So I'm sure he would echo your recommendation. Tyler, what's your horror game to recommend to the folks at home?
Oh, geez. I don't really play many horror games.
The
Um,
littlest
Well,
Little Nightmares. That's his recommendation.
oh yeah, Little Nightmares.
I know we did play that together.
Yeah, we did. That was a fun
um,
one. Did you ever go back and finish it?
no, I didn't.
No.
Um, trying to think of like any other games that I played that really kind of like spooked me.
What about Man of
Um,
Medan? Did you like that?
yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it was all right. It
I
was
mean,
Until Dawn was way better.
yeah, I mean, if we're considering like Bloodborne a horror game, I guess I would go with that. Um,
Hey, not everybody's an expert on every genre, and it's better to be honest with the folks than to just pull out some bullshit. So
yeah, I don't.
that's it's all good. Uh, a couple other shout outs. Inside, that's an excellent game that has just oozes atmosphere and it's a minimalist art style from Playdead, creators of Limbo. Can't wait to see what those guys put out next because both of their first games have just been really seminal indie games for each of the last two generations. And the other one was Bloodborne, and so I really just meant one.
I mean, throw Phasmophobia on that list because I think
Oh
that
yeah,
it's a great
totally.
game.
Yeah, definitely. Phasmophobia, as we talked about way back at the beginning of the show. All right, so I think that that is time to wrap things up. This has been a fun one. Thank you, Kenny and Tyler, for joining me today. Happy Halloween to everybody at home. Remember to stay safe. Make sure you're sanitizing your almond joys,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we'll see you next week.
we got two shows before Halloween, so maybe we'll have to bring some costumes on the 27th.
Right. Yeah, I know. I'm like getting ahead of myself a little bit with like, hey, we got to do a Halloween episode. It's October 7th.
Yeah.
But we'll think of something else to talk about. And maybe I'll have my jack-o'-lantern ready by the 27th.
There you go.
Maybe.
All right. Until next time, friends, stay level.
Bye.